right, let's go. Okay, so today I'm going to be teaching you guys on building a personal brand in the digital age, right? So that's the topic of today's training. We're going to talk about how do I become a storyteller? What is a storyteller, right? How do I make an impact? And this conversation is very important because the world is changing, right? And I know that many of you can see how like we're veering into the era of digitalization. In the 1920s, like there were so many wars, and so they were like we're in the arm era. Then we had like the era of information, and now we're in the era of digitalization. So how do we leverage this digital age that we're in, right, to create impact? Do you understand? How do we take advantage of the fact that we have our smartphones, that we have our laptops? What can we do with the internet for ourselves to give us a better quality of life, so to speak? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So like I said earlier, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to leave them and I'm going to get to them. Okay? All right, so let's go. So I'm just going to introduce myself. I know that Titi Ope has already done, but I'm just going to like give you a little bit more, right? My name is Treasure Okure. I'm from Akwa Ibom. I don't know why I said that, but like you guys, just so you know, I'm from Akwa Ibom. My mom is Igbo, so from Akwa Ibom, that side, Igbo from the mother's side. And I'm the writer of 20 something. 20 something is a newsletter where I basically just share my experiences growing up and experiences are relatable to other people who are in their 20s and who are trying to figure out life. In addition to that, I'm a lifestyle content creator on Instagram. And sometimes I put fashion and beauty content, but I think lifestyle is where I focus on majorly. And then I'm a content marketer at Seller. So Seller is a company that also caters to creators. We help creators sell their digital products, right? So I've been in this game for a very long time. Before I worked at Seller, I worked at Founders Connect. Founders Connect is a company that tells the stories of founders in the tech industry. I worked there until December last year, so I recently just left. And then I'm also a final year law student. So I'm studying in Unilag. And I'm so excited to be almost done with school because I just feel like I'm doing the wrong thing with my life. But yeah, so I'm a final year law student. So I feel like that just gives you like a little bit of insight into who I am and into what I do. All right, so let's get into it. In this presentation, we're going to figure out what building a personal brand means, right? Finding your why. So why should you build a personal brand on a personal level, right? How to successfully pitch yourself. And then this pitching is going to cover not just people, but also brands, businesses. How do I pitch myself to a brand if I want to work with them, if I want to collaborate with them? How do I pitch myself to people that I want to network with, for instance? Because we all know that there's a lot of value in like talking to people, right? In like connecting with people. So how do we do this? And then effective storytelling techniques. Okay, so let's move on. All right, so this is going to be fun. I would want to like just unmute their mics. If you're bold enough, I really like bold people. So from these two people, right, Nicki Minaj and Mommy Gio, what do they have in common? I want someone to just tell me.
They are public figures.
Okay, like, is there anything else? I mean, they're both public figures, yes. But like, is there anything else that you feel like they have in common?
They're both women.
Okay, well, like, I'm pretty sure you can
Popular.
they're both popular. Okay, like, but I'm pretty sure you can think of a lot of things that they do not have in common, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so for instance, Mommy Gio is a religious woman, right? She's a spiritual leader. And Nicki Minaj is not so much. She's not so much a spiritual leader, right? So you can see that by looking at these two people, you already, just by looking at their faces, you already have a perception of them. You already know, oh, the kind of places that you will not find Mommy Gio in, for instance. You already know the kind of things that if they say, oh, Nicki Minaj did this, you will not be surprised. Or they said Mommy Gio did this, you'll be like, what? How, like, what do you mean by Mommy Gio? Like, do you understand? So you already have a perception of these people based on the fact that they are in the public eye and they have done things over the years for a very long period of time. They have done things that have built a perception. Do you understand? Does that make sense? Just say yes in the chat box so I know that you guys are following. So I'm going to go to the next slide now. So what about these two people? What do they have in common?
They're both rappers.
Okay. Anything else?
They're both models.
They're both actually, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, but like what about things that make them different?
Their ethnicity, I guess.
Their ethnicity, yeah. So Nicki Minaj is a black woman. She's from Trinidad, and Cardi B is Latina, right? She's from New York. That's something. I would also say that I think Nicki Minaj is more refined in her talent, in terms of like how she delivers her raps, right? And then Cardi B is more raw, a lot more, I'll say authentic in a way, right? Because I mean, she's very honest about her story, very honest about where she came from. Do you understand? Nicki Minaj too, but like they're just very different. One is more of a lyrical rapper, the other one is more of a pop artist. I don't know. So I'll just like, so even the fact that they're both women, they're both rappers, they're both on top of their game, so to speak, you can still tell differences about the two of them, right? Does that make sense? Are you guys following? All right, great. Okay, so all this is because like I want to talk about what a personal brand is, right? A personal brand is a sum of all the experiences, skills, interests, and values that differentiate you from others. I'll say it again. The personal brand is a sum of all the experiences, skills, interests, and values that differentiate you from others. Personal branding is a process of defining and promoting what you stand for as an individual. So I'm going back to what I talked about with Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, because even though they are very, very, very similar in terms of what they do, but the things that like influence them are different. Do you understand? For instance, Nicki Minaj raps a lot, like her rap is very diverse in terms of the kind of things she raps about, right? Cardi B, I don't think it's as much. Do you understand? The things they're interested in might differ. Do you understand? Where they come from, Cardi B came from the hood, Nicki Minaj too came from the hood too. Do you understand? But like different kinds of hoods like influence their different kinds of experiences. Not to mention Mommy Gio and Nicki Minaj. Everybody has experiences, skills, interests, and values that differentiate them from others. And personal branding is recognizing what these differences are and leveraging on it. Okay? All right. So let's go to the next slide. So I like how Jeff Bezos put it, because it can be very like easy for you to forget all the things I've said, right? About how is the sum of this and that and that. But then if you remember that your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, it sticks. It's very simple. What is your personal brand? Is what people can say about you when you're not in the room. So if someone is talking about Treasure, oh Treasure, oh that girl, she's always writing. Do you understand? Because I've written. Do you understand? So if I'm not in the room, people will say, oh, Treasure is a writer. Oh, she's a law student. Oh, she does so many things. Do you understand? Because that's what I have shown. So that's my personal brand. It's something that you don't have to be there to back up. Do you understand? Something that people are going to say about you when you're not in the room. So I really like this definition, and I want you guys to like stick with it. Okay. So why should you have a personal brand? I know that we live in a world where it's almost like everything's about social media these days, right? But why should you have a personal brand as an individual? So I wrote 5 reasons here, and these are very true to me. So I really just want us to like go over them together. So the world is now a digital village, right? And town criers hold the power. So you know how like there's a village and then there's town crier that goes the money to like give news, right? In the olden days could be back to like maybe the 90s. People got all their news from newspapers. People got all their news from the television. But now we have our cell phones, so we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait for anybody to tell us what is going on. We can go online and say what's going on ourselves. And this is very important because we have situations like what happened at NSAS, where the media was doing somehow, and people took to their phones to be saying, oh, they just shot in this place, they just shot in that place. Do you understand? That reflects the sign of the times that we're in right now. We have all the power because we have access to the internet. And so what that means is that you have the power to own, define, and shape your own narrative. You have the power to say, this is who I am, right? This is what I want you to believe about me, right? And this is, you understand, you have the power to represent who you are online. And this is very important because, let me give the example of Black Panther, right? Or Beyonce. It was very, very hard for Like we didn't have a superhero that was a superhero for Black people, for instance, until Black Panther came on. And like, oh my God, so I can be a superhero. So I remember that time it was very emotional online. I saw like Black children wearing their superhero, their Black Panther clothes. Do you understand? Being able to define your own narrative helps with representation. It helps people to be able to say, oh, somebody can do this. That means me, I can do this as well. Do you understand? There's some people that suffer from very, very unique illnesses. And then there's a lot of misrepresentation online about those illnesses. But if somebody has that illness and comes online and starts a TikTok and starts educating people on whatever condition they have, they're already defining the narrative that both themselves and the world would have about people like that. Do you understand? So personal branding is so important for that reason. That it helps you define your narrative. It helps you to share your experiences as an individual. In a world where people are always saying all sorts of things, you can come online and say, no, this is the truth. This is what it's like to be me, right? Can you relate with what I am going through? Do you understand what it's like to be a UNILAG student? That is what the kind of power that a personal brand has. And so I want you guys to think about this when you are thinking about being online, right? Because I know that too many people say a lot of negative things about being online, but this is so important because it has political power, it has social power, it has economical power to have a brand and to come online and say, oh, this is what's going on, this is my story. Do you understand? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that it increases your visibility. This is so important and it cannot be undermined. We can talk about it from a business perspective. If you're a business owner and you start like branding your business online, more people can know your business. You don't have to just sell to your 5 classmates and your mother. You can sell to so many people online that don't know you. Do you understand? It increases your visibility in that way. But even more than that, it increases your visibility as a person, as an individual. I have people that just meet me in school and they're like, oh, I know you. You write that newsletter. And I'm like, yes, I write that newsletter. And it's very, very, very important because if you have something that you want to share or if you have something that you want the world to know, being online and branding yourself and talking about those things can make people know you as that person that shares about content marketing, for instance, or shares about HR or shares about tech. Do you understand? I'll give the example of my very good friend, Emmanuel Faith. I don't know how many people know Emmanuel Faith here, but he's like an HR top voice. He even won the HR of the year at NoCo Tech Summit last month, right? Emmanuel Faith did not study human resource management in the university. I think he studied economics. I'm not sure, but he didn't study human resources. Do you understand? But because he kept talking about HR on LinkedIn, he was able to brand himself into becoming an HR expert. Does that make sense? So he was learning and he was talking about what he was learning online. And people were like, oh, I need an HR person in my company. Do you know anybody? And they're like, oh, I know this man that's always talking about HR on LinkedIn. And then they got him on board. Do you get? So that's the kind of influence, that's the kind of impact that having a personal brand can give you. The third thing is that it can connect you with people who are like-minded and value the same things that you do. It gives you a community, right? And it's not even just an immediate community. It's not the community that of people that come to you. It can also be the community of people who are also interested in the same things that you're interested in. For instance, I work in the tech industry. Posting about tech, posting about marketing has given me a lot more marketing friends. Does that make sense? I used to go to this place, Wida. I still go there. It's like a bookstore where people come every month to like for open mic and things like that. I was able to meet other people who loved books, who loved literature just by posting about that place. So that's a very important thing about having a personal brand. It connects you with other people who think like you. And of course, it opens you up to opportunities for influence and impact. And this ties into the visibility thing, right? Because if you post about a personal brand, or if you have a personal brand, rather, you're able to impact the lives of other people. You're able to tell them that I can do this, so you can do it too. Do you understand? It allows you to influence people and leave an impact in your community and in the world at large. And then finally, it's a great fallback plan. I put this one such as a joke, but it's really, 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 really important because like a lot of people say things like, oh, I just want to have a job. I want to have a 9 to 5. I want to have a business. And that's great. It's good for you to have those things. But the job market, especially right now, is very unstable, right? People are getting laid off from work. But then knowing that you have a fallback plan, that you can rely on your community and on the impact that you have made, helps you, first of all, to give you opportunities. People can say, oh, Treasure, you don't have a job anymore. How come? Oh, yeah, come and work for my company. I know that you're very good at this because you've always been talking about this Do you understand? People can say, or you don't even have to like, even if you're an influencer, for instance, you can just rely on the income that you get from those kind of gigs. Does that make sense? I hope you guys are following. All right, so that's the like my reasons why you should have a personal brand. Hope I've been able to convince you. Okay, so let's go on. So we're going to like go over how do you build a personal brand. So I've talked about the why you should have a personal brand, and I want to talk about the how. Talk. Sorry, I feel like something is ringing. I don't know what is ringing. Anyway, sit down and have a long personal talk with yourself. In that talk, identify your passions, your values, and your skills. Who are you, right? Who's Ademola, for instance? Tommy Singh, rather. Who's Tommy Singh? What does Tommy Singh care about, right? Those are the kind of things that you should sit down and talk about. Then, there's this, I think a lot of you know him, know Salem King on social media. So, in his book, The Community, right, he gave a framework that you should use when you're having this long personal talk with yourself, right? So think about your education, right? What kind of schools have you been to? What have you learned? Education is not just always formal. It's also things that people have taught you, right? How have you been educated? So for instance, me, I studied in Venezuela before I came back to Nigeria. So that has definitely influenced my life. The people who went to boarding schools, and so the experience is different from the experience of people that went to day schools. Maybe they're a lot more rugged in their thinking. Do you understand? That's your education. It has definitely influenced your life in a very, very specific way, right? Your experiences, what things have happened to you in your life, right? Trying to think of experiences, but you know that there's so many experiences that somebody can have. Maybe you've lost a loved one. Oh, that's very dark. Sorry. You've lost a loved one, or you're in a relationship. You've like been in so many relationships in your life. So you're like, oh, I know so much about relationships. Maybe I should start telling people about how to like navigate relationships. Do you understand? That's an experience. Your exposure. What kind of things have you been exposed to? Do you understand? Maybe you grew up in a farm, so you've been exposed to what that kind of rural living is. You've been exposed to vegetables and plants. You understand? You know the kind of plants that you should use for like herbal mixing and things like that. Your expertise. What things are you good at? Like what things are kind of things that if they call you when you're sleeping, you can wake up and say, "Oh, I know this thing." Do you understand? That's your expertise, and that's different from your interests. Interests are just things that you like, right? The things that make you happy. So, for instance, me, I love fashion so much, right? I really love fashion, so that's an interest, right? I'm not an expert at it, but it's something I'm really, really good at. Expertise. I'm a content marketer. That's an expertise thing for me. Do you understand? So, sit down, list it out, write down all the things that you're educated at, that you experienced at, that you've been exposed to, that you're an expert at, and you're just interested in. This would help you define what your personal brand is going to look like. Then have a why that resonates with you. And be honest with yourself. Because people say, oh, why do I want to have a personal brand? I've already given you guys reasons, but like have one that resonates with who you are and what you're interested in. It's very important because it's not easy. Like the road to creating a personal brand is not easy. So you need something that would anchor you when it gets very, very difficult, right? And as a person, personally, I do not like whys that are superficial. I do not want, oh, I just want to make money. I want to make extra income, right? It's good. It's good for you to like have those kind of goals. And I'm not saying that they're superficial, so to speak, right? But like something that I've seen happens that when people have whys that do not focus on impact, right? It's sort of, you can see it. You can see when they're desperate. You understand? You can see when they don't really connect with their audience, because a good why is one that connects with people and makes them want to be better. So even if your goal is, oh, to make more money or to sell this or to sell that, let it not be your central goal. Let your central goal be impact, because I feel like that's the best kind of why to have. So I'm moving to the next slide now. Okay, so the next thing after you have had that long conversation with yourself is to plan. Determine your unique selling proposition. Do you understand? So what can Treasure do that other people cannot do as well? It doesn't even mean that there will not be people that do the exact same thing as you, but there's a way you can do it that it will be different. For instance, Sisi Yeni, the cook, right? She cooks. She's a very good cook. She has a very refined brand. But then this other babe that I really like on Twitter, hey, I've forgotten her name. She has a very small voice. She's like, hi guys. And she's always laughing, right? She's cooking as well. But then the way she's doing it is different. It's a lot more jocular. Do you understand? So what thing can you do that another person cannot do as well as you? And so for you to determine your unique selling proposition, I'd like you to think about a few things. First of all, do market research. Look at the market. What is everybody doing? Sure, there are 101 lifestyle influencers. There are million and one people that are doing so many different things, right? But like, what's going on? What are the trends? What are people like? What do people care about at the moment, right? Then what do people ask you? This is so important. Like, it's so important. Don't undermine this. For the longest time, I used to post content on social media, right? But I realized that people don't ask me, Treasure, where do you buy this hair? Treasure, where do you buy this dress? The questions they ask me are usually, Treasure, I want to get my life in order. How do I get my life in order? Or, Treasure, I want to become a content marketer. Treasure, I want to write. Do you understand? That made me realize that I should actually talk more about these things. Do you get? So look at the things that people are always asking you about. There's definitely something there, right? When people ask you questions about specific things, right? Then define your target audience. Who are the people you're trying to reach? For me, I'm trying to reach women that, not women actually, people, young people from the ages of 15 to 30. About that, those are my target audience. And so a lot of the content that I'm going to make is going to cater to Gen Zs and millennials. A little, do you understand? So figure out your target audience, what people you're trying to reach with your personal brand. Then analyze your competition, see what other people are doing, and how can you do it differently. You don't have to try your hardest to be different, but it's good for you to stand out on your own and for people to not say, oh, this person is copying that person. Does that make sense? Then invest in branding elements. This is if you want to, right? Have a look and feel for things like, okay, so what do I want my brand to look like? You can choose a font, you can choose a brand color, right? So that when people come to your page, they're like, oh, yes, this is Treasure's page. Do you get? So you can do that. I'm going to talk about branding now. Wait. Yes. So this is Biggie Cola. This is Coca-Cola. They're both colas, right? But the branding is different. I just want to tell me, like, when they look at these two images, what does it make you feel? I can't see the comments, so please just speak. Someone should just speak.
Coca-Cola gives like the VIP energy, and
Period.
Biggie brings the wannabe vibe.
Yeah, I always feel like Biggie gives more of a local vibe than Coca-Cola. Like Coca-Cola feels refined. It feels like, I even say since 1886, you know that this brand has been here. This brand has seen Shege and it has come up on top, right? Biggie is a newbie in the market, right? But I also feel like Biggie's branding could be intentional, right? They're trying to maybe appeal to a more local audience, and that's why they're branded the way they are. So just something to think about, because what you might feel like might be bad branding could even be what the person is looking for. Do you understand? So that's a very good example of branding. Let me give you another one that I really like. So this is Senior Man OA, and this is Salem King, right? So I was just thinking about the two of them the other day when I was like creating this slide. Senior Man OA, they both do speaking content. So like they both speak in their content most of the time, right? But like their content is very different. For one, Senior Man, his content is always so crisp and clean, right? Like very colorful. You can see all the colors, you can see the background lights, you can see his shirts. Salem does black and white videos. Do you get? And then even beyond that, Senior Man Owe, he leans into the fact that he's a Yoruba man. Sometimes he even gives Yoruba slang in his content that he's creating, right? Salem makes content that everybody can understand, whether or not they are white or black, right? Senior Man is relatable and funny. Like if I'm feeling like, oh, I've had a bad day and I just want to laugh, I'll go to Senior Man's page and I'll watch his videos and I'll laugh. He always centers his content towards ideas that are relatable, that everybody can relate with. When I was in school, women, stop doing this, stop doing that. Do you get? So like, that's his brand. Selim, on the other hand, is motivational. Most of the time, like if I'm feeling like, oh, actually, you're not trying, I just go to Selim's page and then it's like, get up and walk. How long have you been talking about this idea? So that's the kind of content that Salem King makes, right? And the amazing thing is that I follow both of them and I like both of them's content. So it's not a thing of, oh, I prefer this one to that one. Do you get? It's a thing of On some days, I want to listen to Salem. On other days, I want to listen to Senior Man. So please bear this in mind when you're trying to brand yourself. Stop thinking, oh, not everybody's going to relate with this. Or do you understand? Like, just do what you want to do. People are going to find you. You don't have to be the everyone person for everyone. Just focus on what it is that you're trying to do and do it. People will love you. People will love other creators. It's enough, like, there's enough space for everyone in the market. So yeah, that's just an example on like branding and how they are both branded themselves. So after you've like had that long personal talk with yourself, and then you have planned what your USP is going to be, what your branding is going to be, it's time for you to show up. And I feel like for many creators or many people who are trying to build a personal brand, this is the hardest thing to do. It's so hard to show. It's easy to say, oh, in 2024, I'm going to grow my followers to 50K, or oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But then when it comes to showing up, that's the hardest part. I want to be more honest about that. So how do you show up, right? You build an online presence with content creation. That's it. That's the most basic thing. And then the thing about content creation is that content creation can be anything. A tweet is content. A video is content. An infographic is content. A LinkedIn post is content. It doesn't have to be a Miokoli standard before it's content. It can be your standard and still be content. Okay, so bear this in mind when we say content, that's what we mean. And then you build an online presence. When I say build, it's something that you build over time. So you have to be doing it. You have to be doing it. And then as you're going, you're growing, you're growing, you're growing, you're growing. Then use storytelling as a tool. So when I say storytelling, people have this idea. They feel like you have to be Chimamanda, right? You have to come and say, I was born in Usuka. Oh no. Storytelling is continuous. Every piece of content you post is a story. Do you understand? You're telling one big story with your life. So when I say use storytelling as a tool, I mean that every single thing that you do is part of your story. It doesn't have to be, you can tell one story, sure, right? But today I got laid off from work. And then tomorrow you post, oh, I've gotten a new job. That's a story. You're still writing the story. When I say use storytelling as a tool, I mean you should show. There's more on this later, but you should show what's going on in your life or what you want to talk about, okay? And then engage with your community. I don't know why people start feeling like they're big. I think it was Don Jazzy that spoke about this at some point. He said that people are trying to be musicians and there's one who drop a comment and you're not going to engage. Who are you? Like, who do you think you are? How you build is by engaging. You have to be interested in the lives of the people that are coming to watch your content, are coming to engage with your posts. If they like, if they comment, if they say, oh, this is happening, engage with them. Be interested in what's going on with them. Be interested in their own journeys too. That's how you build a community. Most times people build communities by accident. It's not something that sometimes you intentionally set out to do. In fact, I even don't like those ones that are very intentional because it's like, what are you trying to do? Do you understand? Like, it's something that just pours up and then it becomes a movement on its own. And that's by quality engagement. That's by caring. That's by providing resources. That's by asking them, how did the job interview go? Oh, you left a question about this. Have you gotten an answer to it? You need help. That's what engagement means. And then finally, be consistent. Consistency and frequency are not the same thing. When I say consistent, I don't mean that you should kill yourself by posting every day. You don't have to post every day, but they should know you that you are there. If your consistency is 3 times a week, let it be 3 times a week. If it is once a week, let it be once a week, but post every single week. That's what I mean by being consistent. Does that make sense? All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Please, am I on track with the time? Because I feel like I'm going.
Hi, Treasure, you're doing very well. This is fantastic. But with the timing, you actually have 10 minutes more for everything,
Jesus.
for Q&A. Yeah, so.
All right, I'm so sorry. Okay, okay, so this is just an example of like people's branding, right? So this is Alma Sinobi, Jihoon, and Salem King. So everything that I've spoken about so far, they have applied it here, right? So Alma, you can see that on her page, she says that she's the go-to travel girly for tips, hotels, guides. So you already know that, oh, she makes travel content. Does that make sense? And then she even gives you a link of things to like look at about her. Jihoon, she's an influencer. She says your favorite Korean girl based in Berlin. So you already know, so she's westernized. Do you understand? She's a Korean babe. So if you like Korean content, you probably want to follow her. And then Salem King, the creator's creator, he already gives you the idea that he's, okay, he already gives you the idea that he's like very big on creators and helping creators. He tells you, get my course, The Art of Community. So from this thing, you guys already know the kind of people that these people are and what they are on about. Trying to like be fast. I also put Miresta and Titilope because I just felt like gives you an idea, right? So Miresta says people, remote work. We didn't know, oh, this is what Miresta is about. Titilope says social impact. It really gives you an idea of what she's about. Do you get? So you guys are following me, Abby. Okay, so so I just felt like we needed to talk about storytelling for a bit. So your life is one big story, right? Everything you've done up to this point can be used. You have millions and millions of content ideas residing inside of you. All you have to do is recognize them and take advantage of them. Don't limit your narrative. You have experiences, expertise, interests, skills that you can glean from. Your personal brand will evolve as you grow. But this is for the people who are thinking, oh, I don't know what to talk about. My life is boring. I hear that a lot. What do you mean by your life is boring? You don't see, you guys, there's so much that you can do. Trust me. In fact, I even have an example to show you as we go on. So when you're storytelling, remember all these. Number one, you don't have to be an expert to tell your story. In fact, sometimes it's even good to not be an expert because experts can be intimidating. But if you know there's somebody that is just starting ahead of you and they can say, oh, I've done this, so it has worked. You can follow them on their journey. Do you understand? So don't look down on yourself. Don't say, oh, I'm just starting. You just starting can motivate other people to start as well. You can start and say, hi guys, my name is Buki. I'm new here, and today I'm going to be this month I'm going to be posting about project management. I just started learning project management. Other people who are just starting to learn it can see your content and they can engage and they say, oh, me too, I'm learning. Do you get? So there is value in not being an expert. You don't have to be an expert to tell your story. Share your wins, but share your losses too. This is important because human beings, we are somehow in our head. We like people to be relatable to us. Do you get? So sharing your wins, share your losses. Let's balance in what you're saying. And then set boundaries. Boundaries is so important. You don't have to overshare on social media. In fact, it's not even good. Some things, keep them to yourself. Do you get? Figure out what to yourself. If it's your relationship, please can you mute your mic if you're not speaking? Thank you. If it's your relationship, don't put it on social media if you don't want to. Your family, don't put them on social media if you don't want to. Set boundaries when it comes to things that you want to share on social media because we need to use it with prudence, right? And then stories can exist in so many different formats. I said this earlier that it can be a tweet, it can be a video, it can be anything. And then finally, like I said, something normal to you may be interesting to someone else. And this is my example. It's the best example I can use to tell this story. So there's this video on YouTube. It's called How to Cook Perfect Hard-Boiled Eggs. And it has 5 million views, right? And to me, it's funny because everybody can cook egg. Egg is so simple. Do you understand? Like, you would wonder, why have 5 million people watched this video? And that's because something that can appear normal to you can be crazy to somebody else. So never undermine the content that you're bringing to the table. Don't say, they've seen so many get ready with me. Make your own get ready with me. It's the way you say it. It's the things that you say. It's the you factor when you're telling the story that makes it stand out. Okay? All right. So next slide. And then another thing.
This is my dad. Super duper excited.
All right. So Dimame is my favorite YouTuber ever. Right. And so I went back to her video from like 11 years ago. This is her first ever YouTube video. And this is her most recent vlog, I think. I'm not sure. And if you guys just listen to what she has to say in this one, you will cringe. But then it makes you realize that consistency is growth.
Guys, this is my first ever YouTube makeup tutorial. I have a blog and a lot of my followers and those who read my blog have asked me to put up a video showing how I create the looks that I post in the blog. So this is it. If you anyway like the look.
And so she's so shy and she's like saying it. She seems, she's tentative in the way she responds or she talks to her audience. And then now look at the difference with this one.
Can you guys tell that I'm super duper excited? Guys, this is going to be a travel vlog. Me giving you guys a travel vlog in December was a hope that I had that is coming to fulfillment. I thank you, Lord. Okay, guys, I'm traveling this night. It's about 4 p.m. My flight is by 12 a.m.
So you can just see that even the way she expresses herself, she's a lot more confident. She has done this for so long, and she doesn't even have to. And then to top it all, she has gotten all the rewards. She cannot travel to other countries. She has left her small room in Enugu. Now she has moved to 2 different houses. She can travel. She's about to get married. All this because she was very consistent with her journey as a creator. All right, so let's go to the next slide. And then another thing I wanted to tell you guys is that you can always evolve. Alma Sinobi is another creator that I really like and respect. In 2020, she used to make content about being a creator. So how to work with brands, how to be consistent, that kind of content. And now she's making content that is targeted towards people who want to travel. Do you understand? She has refined her content creation over the years. So if you're very uncertain, you don't know where to start, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, you're always growing. So your brand is going to evolve with you. So just start wherever it is that you are. Start with what you have. And then as time goes, you can also grow. And nobody's going to drop you. You just keep growing and growing and growing. Okay? All right. So let's go to the next slide. We're almost done. Okay, so I talked about how to pitch to people, brands, and organizations you want to work for. And I wanted to hit the nail on the head with this before we have to end and ask questions. So the first thing that you need to do if you want to pitch to people, brands, and organizations is that you have to have something of value to offer. People like value, especially as you get older. Nobody's going to pity you. Do you understand? People want someone that has value in them, right? So what do you have of value that you can offer? Is it a skill? Is it the way you tell your stories? Is it your number of followers? All those things are valuable. Do you understand? And that's why you need to start now, so you can grow in the value. So as you're talking to more people and brands, you can even ask for more things. Okay? People prioritize value, and that's why they might probably air you, but then they'll respond to Salem King, for instance. Do you get? All right. Be actively working towards a goal or building your personal brand. That's what I mean by having something of value to offer, and that will make the process easier. Number 2, show and tell. Show them and tell them. If something good happens, if there's a review, if someone says, "Oh my God, Treasure, your thing changed my life," post about it. Do you get? Stop being shy. Stop feeling, "Oh, people are going to think I'm bragging." We have all these narratives about putting ourselves out there that sort of limit us and limit the quality of life that we can have as people who are building personal brands. Analytics, if you did a post that did very, very well, and that's the kind of industry you're in, talk about it. If you win an award, post about it. Even if it's just a certificate that you've finished the course, post about it. Portfolios, have a portfolio. Show your work, share your work, right? Have consistent proof of work. And doing this will even motivate you to do more, because as you're doing, you're like, "Oh, I need to do something else so that I can show more things." Do you understand? So show and tell your work, and then be strategic. Sometimes engaging in microdoses is better than one big cold page. You don't have to say, "Hello, my name is this. Sometimes you can just follow them, like their story from time to time, comment and be like, "Oh my God, I loved this content. It really, really resonated with me." Do you understand? It doesn't always have to be a big code, but especially when you're just starting out and you don't know what it is that you want to do. Engaging in microdoses can be better than one big code page. Rejection is okay. Some of these people, they don't know you from anywhere. These brands, they don't know you from anywhere. So don't internalize it. They'll say no, they'll say yes. But it's better for you to have tried than for you to not try at all. And then finally, collaborations and partnerships can be very valuable. I'm saying this because there are people who say things like, "Oh, I know my value, I know my worth." It's good for you to know your value and your worth. But if you're just starting out, sometimes it's better for you to just say, "Hi, can we work together? Let's do this shoot together." Do you get? I even have a story about this. I'm a model, so I model on the side. And it was only until very recently that I started getting paid for modeling. But people would see my post and they would think, "Oh my God, Treasure's probably making the big bucks." But I wasn't. I was just modeling for free. And then all of a sudden I got 6 figures, bam, because I've been modeling. Do you get? And people could say, "Oh, I know that girl, she models, or she models for this brand. Okay, oh yeah, bring her on board," and then they could pay me. So sometimes when you're starting out, if you want to be a jewelry person, say, "Hi, brands, can you send me this for free? I'll create content for you." That way you're able to build what it is that you want to do. It's like an internship or like a volunteer role. Do you understand? You're building something to get to where you want to go. Okay? All right. So let's get to the next slide. This is an example page. I'm going to share the slides with you so you can just have this with you. But I'm just going to go over it. I sent it to a shoe brand I wanted to work for. So I said, "Hello, my name is Treasure, the creator behind Tresian. Tresian is my Instagram name. I'm a fashion and lifestyle content creator based in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm reaching out firstly that I love your shoes. The range of shoes you sell caters to different ages and styles. Women both young and old can rock them. And I think that is really unique and dreamy to your brand. For this reason, I would like to introduce your shoes to my platform this year. I create content on Instagram that is loved by a well-engaged audience of younger women who are discovering themselves and their femininity. And I believe your shoes resonate with the stage of life they're in. I would love to work with you to make this happen. And I believe this partnership will be incredibly profitable for both of us. Please let me know if you're willing to embark on this with me. If you have any further questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Below, I've attached a summary of my profile. Looking forward to hearing from you. You get, so I already tell them that, oh, this is who I am. This is the value. I have a well-engaged audience. That's value because these people are well-engaged. So they're going to see my content. Do you get? And that means if I post about your shoe, they'll see your shoe. So that's an example page that you can use when you're like talking to people that you want to partner with, people that you want to work with. And I'm just dashing it to you guys so you guys can have it. So the next slide. So yeah, we're almost here. We're almost at the end. In summary, find your why. Build your personal brand by consistently delivering value and telling your story. Then reach out for opportunities. And the world is your oyster, you guys. There's so many things that you can do. And I really, really, really hope that this has been insightful. Thank you so much for listening to me. Yeah, I hope I was not rushing through everything. I hope you guys understand. So yeah, that's the end.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Like, thank you so much, Treasure. That was honestly very awesome. And I will always plug, right? Sisterly HQ, the master class is content. So sisters, like if you're legit, right? So like this is literally, you don't have content, this is content. You can literally like make a post, tag Treasure, let everybody know that you know Treasure or you know Abyssal, literally. So you can literally start now. So Treasure, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise. Personally, I learned so much from this session. I'm sure like the comment session is going off because it was such an insightful session, very practical, but also very engaging as well. And thank you so much for sharing this with us. So what we can do is, because we're out of time, but what we can do is we can take maybe 2-3 questions and then just probably do that in the next like 2 to 3 minutes so that we'll have enough time to take a break and before our next session.
Okay, so I don't know how we're going to do that. Could you help me, please? So how are we going to go about the question?
That's fine. Sorry, sisters. This will, like, it's literally the ones I see first that I will just take. So if you have any question, just quickly sharp put on the chat. I'll also go up, so I'll see. I know somebody was asking that what is your why. I know someone said like Treasure, what is your why?
I feel like I want questions that you guys like that would benefit you.
Okay, okay, makes sense. So let me see. I'm trying to go up and see. Someone said, how do you deal with imposter? This is from LRA. How do you deal with imposter syndrome and anxiety while trying to build your brand?
Okay, that's a very good question because I suffer from, I'm getting better, but it's something that has been a main struggle for me. I even made a post, like a piece about imposter syndrome a few days ago. And to be honest, the most helpful thing is that whether or not I don't do it, right?
Yeah.
I have to do it. Does that make sense? Like, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. If I don't do it, I know what the kind of life I want to live. And I have to get there. And the only way to get there is like, I'm here. And then there's this whole forest of cobwebs. And then at the other side is the beautiful future I have for myself. Do you get? So I have to wade through the cobwebs. So sometimes I have to tell myself, Treasure, you just have to do it. So I treat myself as a robot. I'm like, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to do it today. I don't allow it to like hold me down because I know like the vision, I dangle it in front of me. I'm like, this is what we want. And so no matter how I am feeling, I have to do it. Do you get? Does that make sense? It sounds very hard. I'm pretty sure that's not the answer you're looking for, but I swear.
So the next question, I'm just going to give you the two because I saw the question earlier. Someone said, I think Miriam is asking, can you recommend a storytelling course? And then Esther is asking that, do you have to be a content creator to build your brand?
I feel like being a content creator is part and parcel of building a personal brand. I don't mean your business brand though, but if it's your own, yes, you're a content creator because what you're doing is creating valuable things that people are going to consume. Do you understand? So you don't have to be an influencer, because influencers do a different thing, right? What they're doing is posting for people to like actively buy things from them. But if you're providing value of any way online, you are a content creator, because you're creating content that provides value. So yes, you're a content creator.
Okay, and then the suggestion for like storytelling.
Okay, so Salem King has one that he put out last year. It's a little on the pricey side, but if you don't want to use that one, HubSpot also has another one. It's not as good as Salem's own, right? But I feel like this has even been a masterclass. I don't know.
Actually,
I feel like you can revisit this and this will help. But HubSpot has one on content marketing and storytelling that can be helpful for you. But then, in addition to that, I want to say something about storytelling. Right? Consume the content of other creators. That has been for me the most important school I have gone to, the school of YouTube. Right? Watching creators I really, really like. There's Life of Riza. I really like how she tells her stories. You can look for her. Life of Riza. She's a very good storyteller, right? There's so many people who create really, really good content. So just by consuming their content, you can see things that you want to incorporate in yours. Learning is a very active thing. So it's not do this, do that, do that. Especially when it comes to things like content creation, you have to pick what works for you and leave the rest. Okay? Yeah.
great. Thank you so much. The last question that we'll talk about that we'll take is, someone says, how much preparation do I need to maintain a personal brand while doing other things like studies, fellowship, jobs, and so on? And I asked you this question because, I mean, that's literally your life, right? So I just want to show this question in please 1 minute so that we can take a break.
Okay, so how much preparation do I need to maintain a personal brand while doing other things like studies? Okay, well, I'm a student and I also have a job and I also volunteer. I'm also a content creator, and what really helps me is time management. I use my Notion like it's my Bible. I have it on, so every day I know what I'm meant to do. Time management and planning, right? To be honest, we have time. I think it was my mother that talked about this a while back. People say they don't have time to read, but there's time. You just have to be able to structure it very well. And then on the consistency thing, remember what I told you, that you don't have to post every day. You have to pick the tempo that works for you. I have a newsletter, right? And I used to post once a month last year, but I realized that it wasn't really working for me because I got overwhelmed. You guys, I decided to be posting like twice a month. That's consistency. I'm going to be consistent, but twice a month. So just figuring out the pace that you want to go would really help you, and structuring and managing your time better.